Well, hello everyone, and welcome. Today, I think we're going to attempt to start a brand new thing, brand new thing. Just sitting around talking, talking about the world, the days, thoughts, ideas, all kinds of stuff. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how this develops. But I guess today is day one in that journey. A few things to talk about today that I know about, and I'm gonna lead with probably some controversy. That's how you start a podcast, right? Some controversy. I think that I have ideas that are different than everybody's ideas out there. Let's talk about this government shutdown bullshit, right? The government, the United States government, is shut down. It would appear that they're looking to increase spending, and I don't know, the Democrats have said no. And the reason that we're being told they're saying no is over the subsidies that have been removed from the United States, the subsidies on healthcare so that people can afford healthcare. Now, there's a big issue. A lot of people care about healthcare. I mean, everybody with health cares about healthcare, right? Or at least I would think so to some degree. And I think my take on this is a little bit different. I don't think the liberals are doing this because they grew a heart. I don't think that the left is doing this because they have some heart and they want people to get their health care. Nope, I don't think that's how this country works. I guess we're going full conspiracy even right here, right now, just right off the bat. We'll just get into that. I think that the reason that the Democrats are holding the line on this is because this is devastating to insurance companies. Where I live, there's somebody I know that has just, for the first time in their entire career, more than 20 years, as a healthcare professional, they've been invited to join one of the insurances around here as a provider. Now, she's never seen that open in her entire career. She's a provider for all the other insurance companies, but this one has never. Been a thing. It's never impacted. It's never been opened for people to join, as far as she knows. And now it is. And it occurred to me that insurance companies are under threat. And it made me realize that it's the threat to the insurance companies that had made the liberals act, because the left doesn't do things out of principle anymore and the right does things out of principle. I just don't believe that. I think our system is broken. I think it's corrupt. I think everything is a legalized bribe anymore. And this is what's going on. Insurance companies have realized that the way that the rug has been pulled out from under them, all of the money that they were getting, all the people that they have health care for, are all government funded. And it gets worse than that. That's not even the whole story. Think about this. It's not just that they're losing people. It's that they're losing the most vulnerable people, the people that couldn't afford it on their own anyway, the people who couldn't afford lawyers if they get denials that are unlawful. If AI denies them, how are they going to get a lawyer to fight for them? So the only people the insurance companies are going to have left are people that have the resources to get insurance, pay the full insurance bill, probably pay some of their own healthcare costs, even on top of that. But also, more importantly, they can hire the accountability to hold the insurance companies accountable. What do you think is going to happen to the record-breaking, like world record-breaking profits that insurance has been making over the past decade or so? What do you think is going to happen to that when the only people that can afford insurance can also afford to enforce the contract they have with those insurance companies? Do you think that's going to be more money or less money for the insurance company? They lose a bunch of people. They lose the most vulnerable people that can't fight back, who pay in, and then they get told you get to just die. Well, and what are you going to do? You're dealing with cancer. You have no money, and the insurance company says they're not going to give you cancer treatment. What are you going to do? You don't fight back? You can't fight back. There's nothing to fight back for. Maybe your family fights when you die illegally because of it, but that didn't help you now, did it? This is the kind of stuff that I think is going on in our government. I think it is so corrupt. And I think it's a crime that we don't have anybody talking about this. People aren't looking into this and causing this to be outed. See, the right doesn't want to out it, because if they out the left for being as corrupt as they are, well, then they've done nothing but expose their own corruption. So they're not going to fight about it. The left obviously isn't going to expose their own corruption, and everybody else is, I guess, being silenced or sued into silence or whatever. Now, I don't have any knowledge that anything untoward is going on. It just doesn't make sense to me. The left is a bunch of fucking pushovers, and as long as they're getting checks from from whoever's paying for their fucking run to Congress, they're just gonna go do that anyway. So there we go. There's one right there, just an opening controversial idea that I do not think the liberals are standing on principle here. I think they are fighting for the insurance companies who are going to pull their money and put it somewhere else if they don't get the votes that they want. So I think that this is being driven by the insurance industry. I think it's as corrupt as can be. And I think something needs to be done about it now. I have no expectations that our current government is going to fix any problem for any of us. They're going to make it worse. They're going to let it get worse. And we'll see where that takes us. I don't know. I don't have control over that. All I can do is get out here, spread my ideas that I don't think other people are saying, and talk about it. Well, anyway, there's issue 1. So let's go ahead. What else is there to talk about? Now, here's another interesting one that I thought was interesting. I didn't hear the full arguments, but I've read a few articles on some of the ways that it went. But I guess it's just something interesting to talk about. We've got this the Supreme Court taking a look at Colorado has attempted to ban conversion therapy for homosexual children. It's an interesting topic to me. I don't know what to think about it, to be quite honest. We have some evidence that maybe conversion therapy is bad for people, but the truth of the matter is, if we have a child who presents with a severe mental disorder, there's not really a lot of good that comes out of a lot of the treatment that happens to mental health people with mental health crises anyway. And so I kind of think about this, if we take the heated debate of homosexuality out of it, there are a lot of things that we think are mental illness that we don't have good solutions for. And we use a lot of methods that could be harmful to children, and we all disagree on that. And so I think that this is a sincere issue that people have sincere disagreement on. I don't just think it's as simple as we shouldn't support gay children or that it should be a problem to support gay children. The truth is how do we really know which is healthier for any given individual? When a child comes up and says, hey, I think I'm gay, well, they have to deal with that. There's a whole lot of social pressure and consequences already on that. If you go to somewhere that endlessly tells you that you're wrong, what's in your head is wrong, well, that's one way we deal with mental illness. There is a certain amount of we deal with mental illness in that way. But on the other hand, it seems that it's often harmful. We've also have the accounts of people who have done it through abusive means that are like violently abusive. Here's something that's kind of tangential to this, but it's mind-boggling to me that we as a civilized nation still like have spanking as a thing. Like, it's generally legal, as far as I understand it, to spank your children. Now, there are limits, there are rules, and it varies state by state. But I can't believe that we encourage the notion of beating our children. But as long as we live in a society where beating our children is a thing that we're going to tolerate at any level, then who's to say what's right about what we should tell a gay child? I really don't know what to do with that. And our stance historically has been let the parent do it. On the other hand, there's a lot of these groups out there that, and usually it's like the more extreme, like almost cult-like type religions. But there are places out there that like they don't take their children to the doctor because they depend on the healing of God, and then people die, and we prosecute them for that. So we obviously recognize that there isn't this religious blanket that goes over everything, and you get to do anything no matter what because religion. Like, there is a limit to freedom of religion, and that limit does get to what is harmful to children. I just don't know that I'm convinced by what evidence is out there that we know which way to coach children is harmful. We do know that there is a higher suicide rate for gay and lesbian children. But could that be talked out of them, the thoughts of being gay? I don't know. That doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, as a person, I guess I would identify as bisexual or pansexual. I don't know. Like I guess I just don't see the problem with homosexuality. I don't understand why anybody else cares what somebody wants to do with their genitals or who or what they're attracted to. And I guess it doesn't make sense to me that we've decided that just because they're children, we get to dictate that to them. The truth of the matter is I don't know that I have a lot of control over my attraction. I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to. In fact, I'm a little bit weird in that I don't really get attracted to, like, I don't like my visual sense. We'll talk about this over and over and over again, I guess, if I keep doing this, but I don't really have a visual sense of appreciation or beauty that I think is so prevalent with people. I don't really look at people and go, "Oh, that's hot." Like, I mean, I guess I have little flashes sometimes of something that it's like there's things I see that get my attention, but usually it's like a unique presentation of somebody or somebody that shows an individuality that I'm interested in. I don't really look at somebody and I don't know. I guess that's not how my attraction works. So I assume that if I don't really have control of my attraction, I can't really choose to like a particular person, or not to. And it's been that way. Like, that's the thing. Like, I grew up in the Midwest, and looking at guys and being attracted to guys sometimes, or talking to guys, and like the way it's always worked for me is once I get close enough to somebody, I end up generally attracted to them. And it's been a horrible problem. Because, well, I have friends or, whatever, when I was married or whatever. And I have people all over the place that I'm attracted to because I have friends. I have, relationships with people. And that's what I find attractive is people who are interesting enough to be my friend are usually interesting enough to be attractive to me. I'm sure there are exceptions, but generally speaking, people that I'm close to are just people that I'm attracted to. And that's how it works for me. And I don't know that I can control that. I've tried to set aside, the fact that I have interest in men. I grew up in the Midwest. I've been called all the names, sissy, Nancy, whatever, like slur you can think of. It's been there. I've tried to set that aside because I do know how hard it is to be attracted to somebody that everybody tells you is not okay to be attracted to. And I don't think it's a choice. And unless we find some evidence to make it a choice, I don't understand how conversion therapy is helpful because I don't think conversion therapy is going to change somebody's mind on that. I suppose maybe it's possible to brainwash somebody, but is there really any sense where brainwashing is a good thing? Is that really something that we want to be interested in? But on the other hand, that's exactly what we do. Like I said in the earlier parts of this discussion, is that what do you do with that when you have mental illnesses, and the way that we deal with some of those mental illnesses is to basically just confront somebody against their will. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we have to deal with in like some of these personality disorders. We have to confront people with something outside of what's in their mind. And that doesn't always go great. And is that really any different than this conversation? Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on what we know or when we find out something more definitive on how people feel. I don't know. I'm definitely against the people that use abusive techniques, people who use physical violence in conversion therapy and that kind of thing. Definitely have a problem with that. I also and this case isn't about that. I guess I'll just throw it in here because it's adjacent. In the trans discussion, I don't know what to do with the trans discussion either. What do you do with somebody that's 11, 12, 13 years old that feels different than their body is? Well, man, it does seem really odd to get in there and just start intervening with somebody's body in a way that might even be permanent. I didn't know what the hell I wanted at 10, 11 years old. I literally the things I wanted to do and be as a 10, 11, and 12 years old are like the furthest things from my mind now. Definitely not interested in being those things. So who's to say that it's not a fleeting thing? I don't know that we have good options. I guess it's just an interesting question for that reason. I don't know what the answers are, and I don't know that there are good answers. But you know what? There is a point we're going to have to just decide some of these things for society. And I can't say that I'm against the very notion of the Supreme Court just saying, you know what, stop telling people what to do. Families will take care of their own thing. People will be out there offering the services for what the family wants. And who's to say that is or isn't wrong? And as much as I'm for gay rights, as much as I'm for transgender rights, as much as I'm for people just doing whatever the hell they want, we have to understand that the whole problem with the humans and children and how long it takes a human to grow into somebody that can actually understand our world, man, I'm really just hard pressed to say that we don't have a responsibility to protect those and make those decisions for those children. And I think we, by and large, agree on that in society. So what is the answer? Well, I'm not going to pretend it's an easy answer. I'm not going to pretend I like the answer that I think is coming. I'm not going to pretend I don't think it's the right answer, even though I think it's different than what I want the answer to be. And it's okay. We can disagree with things in society and admit that they're hard issues. See, I think that's one of the reasons I want to get into this podcasting thing. We live in a world where it's so divisive. Everybody just takes their position and demands that everybody hear them out, or just wants people to agree with them. And I don't know that I care about that. I care that we've lost touch with fact in our world. We've lost touch with the ability to see when somebody else has a reasonable point. Like I said, I'm pro LGBTQ rights. I am absolutely 100% in the camp of more rights for these people, because they are people and they deserve the same rights we all do. They deserve rights to love and their sexuality and what they want to do and be with their life. As long as we're all talking about consenting adults, I don't give a fuck what restriction you want to put on people. It's wrong. As long as we're dealing with consenting adults that aren't doing things to each other that don't want to be done to each other, I don't know what I just don't understand what the goddamn problem is. But when we get to children, well, we have people that don't understand the world, that don't understand the rules of society, who don't understand the ways that they can be influenced by authority and other people. And we have to be responsible for that at some level, because those people can't be responsible for themselves. But even though I am full on board with LGBTQ rights, I see the reasonableness of the other side. We don't know everything there is to know about child development. We don't know everything there is to know about how and why homosexuality exists. We don't know what causes that. We don't know what factors play into that. And yet we're pretending we know which side of this we should come down on. Well, I guess when an issue becomes unclear to me, the answer to me becomes stop telling people what to do. We should only be telling people what to do when we know what's going on and we understand the problems. And outside of that, all you're doing is telling people they can't do something that, well, that's just control. I mean, and I'm definitely not for that. I suppose I still got some of those old, like, small government, leave me the fuck alone, like, right-wing roots, because I'm a rural person at heart. I grew up in the Midwest. I was probably a Republican for a long time. It was Trump that kicked me out of the Republican Party. When Trump came along, I couldn't get on board with. I mean, I voted for him the first time. I do not like to say this publicly, but I voted for him the first time. And then I didn't vote for him after the first time because I saw what he was, and I had my reasons, and I was fooled, and I can say that. He came, he said some things, or at least what I heard him say, didn't end up being what we got. And, well, once you see a liar, do you want him in control anymore? Well, so after that, I did not vote for him. But upon learning that, upon watching what the Republican Party's become, there's no space left for me in the Republican Party. I've had no choice but to leave it. I mean, on the one hand, the only other choice is these Democrats, which they're no better. They're corrupt as hell. They're taking money from everybody. They're doing things based on financial and campaigning decisions more than they are the helping the American people. I just have no faith left in the Democrats, other than they at least don't want to do it through the cruelty that I see coming out of the Republicans. The Republicans seem to be enjoying the cruelty. They want to protect pedophiles. I cannot get into any of that. But It is what it is. So I find myself, I have no political home, but yet politics affects me. I'm going to be one of the ones. I'm going to lose my health care here soon. It is what it is. And I'm going to, I'm probably going to have some other issues coming up because of, the way the government is impacting, things. That big, beautiful bill was pretty rough. And we're all watching the prices go up. Is that what we voted for? Whether you voted for Trump or not, is that what you voted for? Increased prices, trade wars with everybody, alienating all our, like that's it. Anyway, I could talk about all of that, but we'll save some of that for, a little bit of another time. I don't know. I guess what else is there to talk about? There's this, I am interested in this Comey thing too. I don't know. I guess I get into the legal side of things. I'm interested in this Comey thing. It's fascinating because, I don't see it. I've not seen any evidence that anything that he did was lying, and without the lying, the obstruction is irrelevant because the obstruction is based on the perjury. But I don't see the perjury. And in fact, it looks pretty bogus to me. It looks pretty, It does look like a vindictive prosecution. And you combine that with the fact that, like, there was the Abrego Garcia thing, right? They brought him back on an indictment from El Salvador. And it looks like the judge is open to doing something about what seems to be a vindictive prosecution. And it's interesting because before the election, everybody was mad because, the weaponization of government against Trump. But no judge found it was a vindictive prosecution. That evidence wasn't there. Everything was professionally done. Convicting evidence was presented in court for 34 charges. And the judge just let him off the hook. I've never seen anything like it. Like, I didn't know our justice system could do that. Like, a 34-time convicted felon just gets to walk away with, like, it wasn't even a tongue lashing he got from the judge. The judge was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is with that judge, but if we don't find some judges with some balls, like, we could be facing some real trouble. Because what if they find judges that allow these vindictive prosecutions of people that have done nothing wrong? What if the next time things change and all the crimes that are going on now by those in the White House, and yes, there are crimes, they're all over the place. Homan's, there's potential evidence that maybe Homan may have taken a bribe. He says he didn't do anything illegal. I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know. I don't have all the facts and the evidence. It's just very strange that so what's going to happen when the tables turn? Like, this is America. The tides shift all the time. We hate what's going on. The economy's so bad. Trump doesn't have a prayer of getting in again, even if he does. Like, and that's another thing. He jokes about running for the third term. And people think that's funny because we're triggering the left by joking about Trump running it. What are you going to do if Trump runs again? What are you going to do if Trump really never leaves the White House? Okay, you think it's all fine and good now, but what are you going to do when all the immigrants are gone? Then who are you going to stick this ICE group on? Well, who are they going to go after? The liberals? Okay, what are you going to do when the liberals are gone? Then you're going to go for the people who aren't far right enough. Then you're going to go for the people who aren't straight up fascists. And then it's just going to build. It's just going to be another group to go after, because the whole game here is, I'm getting you to blame somebody who's not at fault for your problems. But what do you do when that group gets eliminated then? What do you do when you gas chamber all the Jews and you don't have the Jews to blame anymore, right? That's what we're talking about here. And it didn't start there with Hitler either. There was the rise. There was the consolidation of power throughout the government. There was, like, it literally looks to me like the early stages. I don't know. I was reading something earlier. I don't know. Maybe I saw it on social media, so I guess I shouldn't. It was an unvetted source. I saw somebody suggest that it was 1933-ish equivalent now. So we're still maybe a decade off from total dictatorial, like, fascist outright war, like, type stuff. We got time to turn this around. And, the truth is Americans are way more pissy than the Germans ever were in that time. German culture was go along to get along. That's not America. We don't go along to get along. We don't just do things because somebody told us to. We fight and we go yell about it on our day in court. That's what we do in America. And That's going to create some problems. Unless these judges keep letting Trump do whatever the fuck he wants, in which case, well then, I mean, I don't know. I guess all is lost. When you have the United States Congress derelict in their duty, they're protecting pedophiles, for God's sake. Who can fucking defend any of these people that want to protect a goddamn pedophile? Epstein's dead, his accomplice is in prison, and the victims are calling for the release of the files. I'm sorry, what else do you need for this at this point? Like, it's insane. And it's really hard to come to a different conclusion than those that want it hidden are guilty or owned by people that are guilty. What other conclusion is there? Correct me. Come on. Give me another out. Give me a golden bridge to retreat across. Give me a way to eat my words. I don't see it. Trump campaigned on the Epstein files. The FBI director was all about releasing the Epstein files. The attorney general was all about it until they get into office, and then, no, there's too much in there. Can't do it. It'll just ruin too many lives. Yeah, that's the point, bitch. If you like fucking little kids, you deserve to have your life ruined. All of it tumbling down publicly for all to see. That's the way it should go. And if you don't feel that way, then you're just as bad as a child rapist as far as I'm concerned. If you think that hiding the Epstein files is good, I submit that you are equally evil to a child predator. I don't know how else to put that. It's gross. It's insane. It's wild to me. And yet we just pretend like it's politics as normal. And I guess that's more like about this hyper-partisan bullshit. Think about this. All we do is pick our side and fight with it. Do you even really believe in all the stuff that your side is doing? Do you really believe in deporting, like farm workers and day laborers who have done all the paperwork and done anything right? They're not actually here illegally. They're just in the process somewhere. Do you really think it's good to be deporting those people? I don't really understand that. Like, we have the shittiest immigration process there is, but the people who try to follow it are still getting deported. They're going to all the things. They did all the right steps, and they go to court to, go further the process, and that's where they're being arrested to then be deported from. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why the people who are following the rules are being... Well, okay, I do understand it. Like I said a minute ago, it's about blaming somebody who's not at fault for your problems. The person at fault is your problems is the corrupt fucking politician who's taking money from somebody to screw you over. The problem is the corrupt politician who's taking money to cut your health insurance, to ensure that your wages stay low. This is all the money they take because this is what billionaires want. And billionaires just pay politicians. Like, think about it. If you had $1 billion, you would spend $100 million to prevent 10% of taxes. Think about it. It would make sense. I would spend $100 million to reduce my tax burden by 10%. Because it's the same thing, only I've at least taken control of it by spending the $100 million on politicians. And this is one of the most dangerous things there is about billionaires, is that it's way cheaper to buy politicians than it is to just fucking pay taxes. And so, of course, in that system, they're always just going to buy politicians, especially considering bribery is legal now. Especially if you do it after the fact. If you get somebody to vote away and then you just give them gratuity after, that's legal now, according to the Supreme Court. That's wild to me. I just ask a politician for something, and if they go do it and I have enough money, I just fucking give them a whole bunch of money, and that's not bribery, I guess. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the court. I suppose that's entirely possible. I am not a lawyer. I enjoy the law. I study the law. I think I understand it better than the average layman. But at the end of the day, I'm just an advanced layman when it comes to law at best. So I don't know. But it's wild, all these things that happen. The weird precedents that are being overturned. There's so many... Oh, God, I could go on forever about the Supreme Court. Our justice system scares me. Our justice system's failing. But you know what? Not all is lost. I think there's hope. I don't think all is lost. I'm not interested in catastrophizing. It's hard, and there's hard things out there. but I don't think we're beyond the pale. I don't think we're past the point of no return. In fact, I think we're at a point to where, yeah, we might have a few tough years ahead of us. We've been through this before. We've had the Civil War. We've had the Civil Rights Revolution. We've had things that have brought the country to stumble before. And we can do this and we can get through it. And you know what? In the wake of that, we wake up. We pass some new laws. We'll pass some constitutional amendments. And we're going to deal with the kind of thing that led us here. We're going to find a point at the end of this, I believe. This is my hope. This is my faith. I think we're going to get past this. I think we're going to start realizing the corruption isn't good for anybody. It's making all of it worse for everybody. Not just the United States, the world. The world depends on us. We're like the center of the economy. We're literally in the act of maybe toppling the entire world's civilization if we don't do something about this. And yes, that's dramatic. But imagine if Germany was the basis for the worldwide economy. Think of how that would have gone down in World War II if Germany was literally the basis of everything. They were the world superpower. Like, that's what there's some scenarios that I see that could be very, very frightening. I don't think that's going to happen though. I think we're going to get through this. I think it's going to be tough. I think we're going to have some things going. I'm afraid of the days of violence in the street coming. I don't think violence is a good way of solving problems. The only problem violence is good at solving is violence. And the problem is that the government is starting to show violence against its citizens. They're arresting people who have done nothing wrong. They're bringing false charges against people. That is a form of violence. When the government takes your freedom from you by force and forces you to stand for charges they know you didn't commit, that is violence against you. That is taking of your freedom is violence against you. We call it kidnapping, right? Locking you up without cause is what we call kidnapping or unlawful imprisonment. And that is a form of violence. And so to say violence is never the answer fails to recognize that violence is the only answer to violence. You can't talk somebody who's trying to kill you out of killing you. They're just going to kill you. And what? You took the high road and died with words? Well, that's a weird way to go. And it's also not the way most Americans see things. We have these stand your ground laws and castle doctrines and all these other things. Americans are all about standing up for their rights. And I think that once everybody realizes, I think we just have a large part of the population that isn't yet tuned into the rights violations. For the first time in American history, I think, we've been added to a watch list for civil rights, a worldwide organization. I'd have to look up who this was. Maybe I don't remember who it was, but it seems we're on some worldwide watch list for human rights violations. And that's just never happened in the United States before. And that's pretty unsettling to me as somebody who's lived my whole life here, never left the country. I love this country, and it's been great, and it's just really wild how quickly it has turned into something so much different. But I think we'll get through this, and I think on the backside, I think we're going to have some very smart people get together, and I think that we'll have some amendments to the Constitution, just like we did in the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. I think we'll come out of this with some answers to actually deal with somebody who wants to actually keep out of there is a constitutional amendment that says that if you participate or give aid to insurrectionists, that you're ineligible to be a sitting president. And the Supreme Court decided that they were just going to ignore that amendment. And that's wildly disappointing. I never thought I never thought I would see the Supreme Court literally just shit on the Constitution like they did with that decision. I don't know, man. It was plain as day to me what that amendment said, that having given aid or comfort to insurrectionists should be disqualifying, and the Supreme Court decided that wasn't true. They didn't even go so far as to say that Trump wasn't an insurrectionist. That's not what they did. They just said that a state can't decide. And there's truth in that, but And that was unanimous, and there's truth in that, and I see the sense in that decision. The problem is that the majority decision, I think it was 6 of them, said that there's no way to do it without passing legislation, which doesn't make any sense, because to add a constitutional amendment, you need 2/3 of the chambers of Congress, as well as, I believe it's 3/4 of the state to ratify. It might be the other way around, the different 3/4, 2/3, or maybe it's both 2/3. Anyway, it's a really high bar to get a constitutional amendment. It's virtually impossible to do unless, the country is so united on something that there's pretty much no other way to move forward other than people agreeing and putting it on there. Like, you just can't get an amendment passed. And so they say that you needed implementing legislation for it to take effect, which is just dumb, because it took 2/3 at least to put the amendment on. That means that if you put in legislation, then a simple majority could, rescind that legislation, and then the amendment is useless again. So it means that, to me, the way that the opinion read, it means that somehow they think that a simple majority should override the 2/3 supermajority that it took to put the amendment on the Constitution. And that doesn't make sense to me. But, nothing, a lot about the world doesn't make sense to me. So, see, and this is one of the things that I think we need to remember as people. The way the world is, reality has no obligation to make sense to me. I am not what the world is existing for. I'm just here existing within it, trying to make sense of it. Like I think most of us are. And I think that's one of the things we've forgotten. I think that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is I think that we can find better unity. I think we can do it a different way. I think that we don't have to hate each other. I think we can start realizing the reasonableness in each other's positions again. I also think that if we did that, some of these things that are extreme would start falling away. I think that the reason that we can't get along anymore is because we don't care about the reasonableness of our other side. We care about the side. We care about, the owns and gotchas. This meme culture is wild, man. It's more about what can I say to gotcha, and it's not about reason. It's definitely not about facts. Nobody gives a shit about facts anymore. It's just wild to me. And yet, this is where we find ourselves in the world, and we have to figure that out, and we have to deal with that. And anyway, I guess it was a good first run. I guess we're sitting at about 37 minutes or so here. I guess that's a pretty decent run. I'll have to go back and listen. Anyway, I'm glad you were here. If I decide to put this online, I guess I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you came to show up, and and maybe I'll be glad to do more of this going forward. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Until next time, goodbye.